to the Wayfaring Panda. I'm Annette. Today I'm participating in a YouTube hop called All About the Mouse, where you scrapbook Disney pictures. So this month the theme was taken from the picture that I'll put up here on the screen. And so I'm going to be scrapbooking a picture of me with Peter Pan, and I think it's Princess Tiger Lily. I'm not sure who the other character is supposed to be. For my scrapbook layout, I'm using a sketch from Orlanda, Silva, and I'm mostly using a paper collection from Echo Park called Lost in Neverland. So most of my papers will come from there. I did cut out these leaves with some green cardstock, and I'm just going around those with some Rustic Wilderness Distress ink. One of the challenges with this scrapbook layout is that I only have one photo. I didn't have any other photos that really went with it. And often I'll do at least 2, if not 5 or 6 photos on a scrapbook page. So I obviously would need more decoration, but I really wanted to keep it simple because a lot of times we get carried away. I know I do. And a lot of times you'll see on videos where we use so many different supplies like border punches and ribbon and tulle and I don't know, enamel dots, all kinds of things, maybe a lot of mixed media. But you don't really have to go buy all those things to do scrapbooking. You can just get a few basic supplies. So in this case, I got a collection kit that has pattern paper and stickers. And that's pretty much all I did other than adding my ink, and I like doing that. First of all, I think because of Peter Pan, I think of treasure maps. So I think this kind of gives it that old look that you think of with pirates and treasure maps. And also it kind of gives it a little bit more dimension without having to add a whole lot of extra embellishments. So for the blue paper, I'm using that as my main background, and it kind of looks like a starry night, which I thought goes great with Peter Pan. And I'm going around that with weathered wood distress ink. If you don't have distress ink, you can use whatever kind of ink that you do have. And I like using the blending tools. There's all kinds of tools out there, so whatever kind you got, you can even use a cotton ball, and that would work. I already matted my photo with some navy paper, but it also showed on the sketch to put some other paper around that, which it looked like the sketch was probably showing vellum. But I decided I wanted to use some paper that would look like an old map. So I got this paper that kind of looks like parchment. But if you didn't have that, you could just use a light brown color. And then I'm just going around and tearing the edges. I'm not great at tearing, and I'm trying to keep it so it doesn't tear too much, just enough to give that old weathered look, but also to keep it the size that I have it so that it still peeks out from behind the matting that I have. I found that if you got the paper a little bit wet, that helped to tear it. So I did use that paper towel that I had that I used to wipe up the ink, and I didn't care if some of the ink came off because I'm tearing it off. And also, after I finish getting the paper torn, then I do go around it with vintage photo distress ink to make it look like an old-fashioned treasure map. The rest of the papers I'm using all come from the collection, and this one with the brown, it looks like feathers, that's just a branding strip, so that's another thing you can use. These were for some strips, or you can use washi tape. But instead of washi tape, you could just use a branding strip, and that'll give you the same effect. So I'm going around that, and also all the squares that I cut out with my vintage photo. The squares I cut from the pattern papers in my 12 by 12 paper kit, but you could also use scraps because I think the largest squares I did were about 3 by 3, and then the smallest one was I think 2.5 by 2.5. So you could use scraps for this layout also. I'm using the red sort of plaid paper for the background, and I did go around that with vintage photo also, but I did that off screen. And then I'm just using my Scotch ATG gun to lay down my blue paper onto my red paper. And you can use whatever type of adhesive that you like. You can use a Scotch ATG gun, you can use double-sided tape. Some of them come in strips, and some of them come with little dispensers, or you can use glue. You just want to make sure whatever you're using is acid-free. Then I just lay down all my papers according to the sketch to make sure where each one's going to go before I start gluing them down with my Nuvo Deluxe glue. I like using glue on this. Some people like to use double-sided tape. You can do that. The Scotch HEG gun is kind of awkward to use on smaller pieces like this. I also like the glue because you can move your pieces a little bit because I don't always get everything on straight to start with. Then I add my picture and I'm attaching it using some mounting squares, which is like a double-sided tape, or sometimes they're called photo squares or photo splits. This picture was taken when my family went on the Disney Wonder to Alaska, and we did that to celebrate my parents' 50th anniversary, and that ended up to be the last time that my father was able to go on a vacation, and so it was a really special time for us, and we were glad that we went then and didn't wait till the next year or he wouldn't have been able to go. Then I'm just cutting my strip that we inked earlier in half because there's 2 spots where I'm supposed to put a strip, and then I'll just glue that on with my Nuvo Deluxe glue. And for the title, I'm going to use Never Grow Up. I think it's great if we all stay a child at heart and have fun, and you'll enjoy life a whole lot more. My dad used to say, I still don't know what I want to do when I grow up. Although it's kind of weird because he was a mechanic all of his life, and as far as I could tell, he always wanted to be a mechanic. But maybe other things he didn't know what he wanted to do. So I'm just going to use the stickers. I kind of play around to figure out where I'm going to put the stickers, and then I combine those with the leaves. I decided I couldn't tell for sure who the girl in the picture is supposed to be. I think she's supposed to be Princess Tiger Lily, I guess. She certainly doesn't look like Tinkerbell, so I'm guessing that's who she's supposed to be. So I decided I would put the teepee on there with some leaves, and then I kind of play around with different stickers, deciding which ones to use in 3 different clusters. Then I remembered I'm supposed to put a bunting across from the photo to where another cluster is supposed to be, so I'm just going to use those stickers that form a bunting. Then I just keep studying my sticker sheet to decide which stickers to use with the clusters, as well as adding the leaves that I had already did earlier in the video. And I ended up adding a little sticker to the tint of flowers, so I thought that made it look a little bit more finished there. And also I found some little tiny stickers that had Tinkerbell, and they kind of look like the size of an enamel dot, so it kind of took up that place. And I think the layout really turned out well. I think if you find a sketch or a picture of a sketch that you like, that will help you figure out how to make a scrapbook page where you don't have more than one photo, but you need to not use too many supplies, and it'll still look good. So I really liked how this layout looks, even though we didn't use all kinds of different embellishments. So you really can make a nice looking scrapbook page with just paper, and I just used ink and some stickers. I'll put a list of all the products that I used in the description below. Some of these will be affiliate links. They don't cost you anything extra to use, but I do get a small commission from any sales that the links generate, and that helps support my channel. Also, I have a link to all the other people that are participating in the hop. Please hop along and give them some support, and you'll get some inspiration for how to use different supplies for your scrapbook pages. And hopefully it'll get you inspired to get some of your scrapbook pages done. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, please give it a like. And if you're not already subscribed, I'd really appreciate if you can subscribe to the channel. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.